Hi everyone, going to show you a Brilliancy game now. This won the Under 18 Brilliancy Prize from the 2013 British Chess Championships, and it features a familiar face you will recognise because I played him in the second rapid and got pasted, of course. It was Andrew Horton with White, who won the Under 18 Brilliancy Prize. He is 209 ECF, but only has a FIDE of 2032, which is going to go up a lot, seeing as he got an incredible 6.5 out of 11 and was drawn with IMs left, right, and centre. But yeah, that is very deflated FIDE. That anything below 2200 is definitely deflated from, that's for sure. And he was playing Stephen Homer, who's 2165, so quite a strong player, probably around 190, 200 ECF, I should imagine. Although I've not looked it up. This was played in round 3 of the main event on the 31st of July 2013, so Harry Potter's birthday. And can Andy work his magic? Well, he can, because this won the Brilliancy Prize, which won him a nice princely sum of money to go with his best performance relative to his rating. For his, I think he was under 21. I got him like £250. He's gonna be even richer soon. And this game emphasises how much of a bright future he has ahead of him. So let's go on with the game then. 1e4 was played. c5 was the choice from the opponent. And then we have the Grand Prix attack, which is an anti-Sicilian where White aims to set up an attacking pawn duo on the centre on e4 and f4. And there were some crude attacking plans where you where you castle knight f3, move your bishop over, and then you put your queen round for e1 to h4, play f5, and then try and smash open the black's king side and try and make an h7, some lines. Sort of like a reverse Dutch defence in some positions. And black has his trump cards as well, so usually kettles this bishop on g7 to aim at the d4 square, which is usually quite weak in the white position. And also f4 weakens dark squares, so it makes sense to have a piece on d4. And now white has two moves, bishop c4 and bishop b5. Now usually if black plays, if we go back, if black plays the 2d6 line, then you play f4, g6, knight f3, bishop g7, and now you actually put the bishop on c4 is better in this line because black's selected d5 plus, which exposes the bishop, loses the tempo. And say after e6 you usually just play f5 and just sack a pawn. It's quite dangerous. But in this line, I don't think bishop c4 is that great because d5 can play e6 and d5 can play very quickly. So you put the bishop on b5 instead, which is more of a position line than a gung-ho attack, which you usually get with bishop c4. And this also has a positional threat of bishop takes c6, which you might think, what's the big deal, because it cedes the bishop pair in return for a bit of structural damage, but it's actually quite significant. So if black as Kelson plays d6, which many players will, you just chop it off. And these double pawns are very awkward because they're potentially weak, and in a lot of lines black's extra bishop, the c8 bishop, is completely blocked in. White will just play d3 castles, queen e1 in the meantime, and try and smash black open. And the double pawns are really restrictive to black. I know for a fact that Andy has won many games for opponents allowing him to play bishop takes c6 check. But Andy's also won many games if he played the correct move, which is knight d4, which of course gets out of the way of the bishop, attacks the bishop, so in the main lines it'll be exchanged, and also puts a piece in a strong square. And if white takes, then you get this bishop coming in, and then white actually can't castle, which is not very good. So in this position white has a few moves. You can choose to move the bishop, or you can just ignore it and castle and try and use his leading development in return for the two bishops. It's a matter of taste. Like in some lines you put the bishop on this square, which is quite interesting, you know, it blocks a pawn. There's also bishop back to c4, which doesn't block a pawn, but the bishop's a bit more exposed on this square. And there's the main move, which is the castle, which Andy plays. Have a note with the Grand Prix as well, well not the Grand Prix, but if white plays 2 knight c3, Black has to be careful about his second move because white can always still play knight f3 and d4 and move all d into an open Sicilian, which you don't usually play. And now in this position, black decides to play the main move, which is to win the two bishops at the cost of time. So knight takes, and d5, which looks a bit of a strange move, opening the position up which is a logical move. Sorry, this is a very logical move. This because black's got the bishop pair, so we want the position open. But it's also a bit dangerous potentially because now white has two moves, and in the past taking on d4 preferred. Because black's got the bishop pair, so it seems stupid to open the position up. But white does have a lot of development, so if black's not careful, it'll get swamped. And Gwen Jones has won many games with this through hacking people up, using his development advantage. Black usually follows up with a6, the knight will drop back, and then he'll put his knight out to capture this pawn. And see after d3 will take. We get a very interesting position. But now in his recent DVD, Gawain actually thinks e5 is stronger. This aims to keep the position more closed against black's bishop pair. It also blunts one of black's bishops. And also gains space. And if black stupidly plays e6, then knight d6 check will be rather embarrassing. And now the best move in this position actually might be to play d4. Now this is a very double-edged move, of course, because, well, first of all, black's plan is to play b6, bishop b7 and keep the diagonal open for his extra bishop. But this is also another pawn move, and white can try and get a development advantage. But in the game, a6 was chosen, which boots the knight back, and now bishop g4. So black actually wants to give the bishop pair back to reduce one of white's attacking chances, because the f3 knight is dangerous in a lot of lines. Like in a lot of lines, you can imagine this in your head that you'll castle. White will swing his queen around to h4, and then he'll play knight g5, and then there's a rook takes f6 sack, so removing the defender of h4, h7, and then queen and knight mate you. Because in a lot of lines, attacking games in the Grand Prix, the h7 pawn's the main catastrophe. And now d4 is chosen, because to take advantage of white not playing d4 himself. And now we have bishop takes f3, maybe a bit dubious, rook takes f3, and now c4, which is not a good move at all. Very strange mistake from a strong player. I mean, I'm a lot weaker than these players, and I would definitely not even make that mistake, because it's taking the pressure off white's centre. And now that means white is now defaulted to hack, and plus as well, another key factor is king safety. And okay, black might think, okay, I'm going to keep the centre closed because my king's in the centre and I can't even play knight f6. But the problem is white's king knight is now very safe, and white now has all the time to smash open black's position in the centre and king side. So I think the tension should be kept, and maybe black should just develop his knight, which this stops any f5 advances. Well, neutralises them and prepares to castle, and white will still have some attacking chances, but then maybe you can take in the centre and open things up. That would be preferred, but c4 is played instead, which is a very bad move. And now Andy plays the typical Grand Prix move to liberate the c1 bishop, f5. And now black's in a bit of trouble, because there moves like e6 and f6 are coming. I think his best probably is actually to play f6 himself just to stop all this. But then maybe you've got e6, and this pawn could cause a lot of problems, but it can be undermined because we can always take an f5. But instead he took it, which looks pretty suicidal, opening the king position up. And now rook takes f5 was played. And now e6 was played, which attacks the rook. And now it seems like the rook has to move. But in this position, Andy plays a great move, and if you want to try and spot it, please stop the video now. And it takes a lot of calculation, this. But in hindsight, maybe black should be playing knight h6 again, which also attacks the rook and stops the catastrophe that happens in the game. Oh, actually it does it, because that rook h5 is very strong. So actually e6 might be the strongest, but now here comes the earth-shattering move. And he plays the crushing sacrifice, rook takes f7. Bang. Boom. Kablam. Where did that come from? Wow. That is a bolt out of the blue. Who expected that one to be coming? I mean, it's pretty logical. I mean, black's playing several units behind. The knight and rook are not developed. The other rook's not doing anything. The queen's not developed. And although white's not developed his bishop yet, the point of this sacrifice is to bring the rook and bishop into the game with tempo. It practically has to be taken. And now the follow-up's pretty obvious. Queen h5 check. King e7 is obviously bad because of Bg5 check. But after king f8, my favourite move is played from the series. Remember, when you're down material, you need to attack and make threats, otherwise your opponent will consolidate and then win the endgame with the extra material. So if Andy gives his opponent any rest, he will lose. So therefore, all the bits have to come into the game. And as Yasuo once said, when attacking, invite all pieces to the party. So, Bg5 gets played. Attacking the queen, which has to move. It goes to e8, so maybe black's got distant dreams of a queen swap and then winning the rook up. That's not going to happen. Rook f1 check. And now this is actually winning material back as well. Because the only move is to block the with a piece, and of course f6, the e5 pawn is protecting it. So bishop on knight, which do you block with? Well, his opponent actually chooses the worst one to block with, although they're both pretty bad. And knight f6 seems to hold that for a bit longer. But at the end again, you still get queen h4. And there's still a lot of dangerous pressure on the black position. But the bishop blocks instead. The reason that is worse is because at least that when you block with the knight, you get the knight out. But with this, it's even worse because the knight's still in the box. And now actually, even in this brilliant game, there is a little inaccuracy now, but it's not a massive one. Andy does actually not play the strongest move, surprisingly, not in this position. And the strongest is actually quite surprising. Oh, actually, yes, he does play the strongest. Yes, I thought my first queen h3 is stronger. Well, I'm not sure what the point that is, but yeah, this turns out to be this is actually the strongest move, queen h4, just intensifying the pressure. Oh, now. Very instructive play this, you could learn a lot from this game. That bishop is being bullied by 4 pieces and is protected by 1. And this is just an incredibly aesthetically pleasing position, this. I just think it's a beautiful position, this. And there's nothing black can do. And I think apart from 11c4, he's not really made any mistakes, and even that wasn't really a serious looking mistake. And usually it's only against like 2800s when you lose by not making many serious mistakes, but man, this kid is special. And now black is completely toast. He tried h6 which at least forces the bishop to take. You see, that's what's so instructive. You don't even take with the pawns that block white's attack, you just take with the bishop and admit, okay, I'm going to be a rook behind, but I'm going to mate you instead. Because if knight takes f6 is played, then catastrophe happens because the rook will take, and if the king goes here, then that's obviously winning, and that's actually the best choice because if the king goes to g5 I mean, we have this check, and we just play this anyway. And this is just very nasty. Black's practically got to give his queen up, otherwise you've got this now with knight f6 check looming. So black's going to lose his queen and his king, which is not good. So he has to accept he can't take, and he also can't even move his king out to discoverers as well. So he finds the best defense, rook h7. And now in this position you've got plenty of good discoveries. Also queen g3 looks quite interesting as well. To try and get the can't get someone going down the g file, but bishop e7 check was played, which is also double check. The only legal move is to move the king to g7. And now Queen G4 check is played. And now there's a choice now. If King H8, then the crushing move is Rook F8, which wins the Queen. And then this falls at the end, and the problem is once the E6 pawn falls, all Black's pawns fall like dominoes. Okay, we can have Ribkase cheapo in this position. So if White is in idiot mode, then he might get mate on F1 rather embarrassingly. But nope, no chance hack would fall for that. H3 will be played, and you can try stuff like this. Because you can just maybe play this. Actually, this move actually ties Black down quite a lot and protects the C2 pawn. And then we'll munch on Black's D5 pawn next move, and also shows him that another reason why C4 was not any good. And then White will just advance the D&E pawns to victory, and victory will soon be assured. And against a strong player like Andy, this is time to throw in the towel, I'd say. So he blocks for the Queen, seeing Rook F8's a crusher. And now another little test. I'd say if you have to replay 14 Rook takes F7. I'm not sure if he did or not. I won't be surprised if he did, but only he will know this. I think you have to be able to. I think you have to see this move 8 moves later. This move has to be seen, otherwise you've got nothing. So what's the final move of the combination that assures victory for Andy? Pause the video if you want to have a go. Bishop F8 check. Beautiful. So after the rook takes, we just swap queens and take the rook. And now, although we're not going to mate Black, we are now a pawn up in the ending, which doesn't sound like much, but when Black's knight's still in the box, well, he moves it now finally. But this is pretty easily winning this. Because after Rook F6 check, King G5 will win another pawn. And now White is 2 pawns up for insufficient compensation. Okay, the knight tries to finally gets active, attacks the D pawn. Knight E2, bring our knight round and protect it. Rook F7. Rook E8, Knight E3, we got play this check, another check, protect the pawn, and after Knight D1, okay, Black's going to win the B2 point, but this is a blunder as well, because we just play H3, just give King a square in some lines, and then after it takes, we just play E6, and this pawn is going to win the material, so Black throws in the towel. And he probably was sick of being blown away. But yeah, this game is beautiful. Okay, I'm not a big fan of the Grand Prix attack, but I do have to admit it does have some dangerous attacking potential in a lot of lines. And to be able to this calculation involved to win this game, and that imaginative rook sacrifice, this game rightly deserves its place as the best under 18 gameplay played by an under 18 in the main championship at the 2013 British Chess Championships. I hope you enjoyed my coverage and analysis of it, and it won't be long, I'm sure, before I will be calling him GM Andy Horton. But for now, and also if maybe you get a chance, you can check there's a game I played against him in the Rapid Play, and check my playlist Rapid 2 Round 2. I had White against him, so I won't be getting smashed by any Grand Prix attacks or anything. I always get smashed by something else. It was very fun. The end's actually very amusing. But for now, please leave any comments and thoughts. Thanks very much.